Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We're gonna do this audio.
All right, yeah, it's just gonna be audio. Probably like 10 minutes or something, if that's cool.
All right.
I wanna thank you for taking the time to do this. I appreciate that.
Nah, no doubt, no doubt.
How are
I
you
got.
doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Can't complain.
Okay, so I'll just jump into the questions. I guess the first question that and I collected these questions from a forum, like a bunch of people kind of contributed to the questions I'm gonna ask.
Right.
So the first question is just like, who is Chimp1? How did you get the name? How did that, like, what's your origin story?
Well, Chimp1 is a underground musician connoisseur. Everyone knows I got the name through Charles Hamilton. He's the one that gave me that name, and I'm just about the music, bro.
Wait, wait. I guess something I was gonna ask about is the forum where I got these questions. It is a forum called KPT2, and I wanted to ask if you were familiar with that website.
Yes.
Okay, and there's a guy on there who goes by the name of Uptown Flavor One, who posts a lot of your music, and it's kind of like, it started off as like a meme, but now people are like genuinely confused about, like, is this person you or is it just a fan? What would you say to that? Like, is that you?
No, that's actually a star chaser named Dalvin. He was the one that linked me up with Charles Hamilton. He's a
Okay.
OG star chaser.
What is a star chaser?
Star chaser is what Charles Hamilton refers to as his fan base.
Word. Okay. So do you know this person, Uptown Flavor, in real life, or is it just like a guy you know on the internet?
Nah, I know him. I know him in real life. Like I said, he was the one that linked me and Charles Hamilton together. So he definitely is a person that that keeps my name relevant on the blogs and the forums. So anytime I got any new music or anything, I always hit him up first.
Word. Okay. So how did you say he introduced you to Charles Hamilton? How did he do that? How did he know Charles Hamilton?
He was he was one of the early birds that was really early on Charles. So he was living in Harlem. He linked up with Charles in Harlem, and I know him from back in the day, and he actually was the one that linked. When I came to New York, he was the one that actually linked us both together on some music shit.
Word. Okay. Okay. I see how it comes together. So you're originally from New York, or you're not?
Nah, I'm originally from Miami, but I've been in New York. I've been living in the Bronx for about like 12, 13 years already.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So you've kind of created, or I guess like you've amassed for yourself like a very large catalog.
Right.
And what has been like the process of that, like putting together projects? Like, are you just always working on a project, or do projects just kind of form as you make stuff naturally?
Well, I'm always working on music, whether it's making music, producing beats. How that worked out was in 2015, I put out my first mixtape, EP, whatever you want to call that shit. It was called The Diary of Daria, and I had made a blog, and on my blog I was like, I'm going to put out a mixtape every month. So from 2015 all the way to 2023 that we're out now, I've been putting out a mixtape, EP, whatever you want to call it, every month since 2015.
Wow.
And that's that's just mixtapes. Like, I've also done instrumental tapes, collab projects. I produce for other people.
Okay. So what's been your favorite project that you've done? And like, if you wanted to recommend a project for somebody who hasn't listened to your music to get into your music, what project would you recommend?
That's a hard question. Well, The Diary of Daria is the first project I ever put out, so that's always going to have like a special place for me. And a lot of people that follow me from day one, that's always like their go-to. Like, they always bring that tape up to me like, oh, remember this. But if I had to choose probably a favorite one, man, that's kind of a hard question. There's so many projects out. But the ones that come to mind, I would say like No Way Out was a good one.
Okay.
Hate Me Now was a good one. What else? I Hate My Job is a good one. Um, Don't Tell Mom Chimp1 is Dead is a good one. There's a couple, there's a lot.
Okay, cool. So what inspired that last title? Don't Tell Mom Chimp1 is Dead. What was like the inspiration for that title?
The inspiration for the title was the movie Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Oh, okay. Okay. So do you take influence more from like movies or music?
My influences come from like day to day. You know, whatever like really influences me. I mean, if a fucking napkin would have influenced me, that would probably be the name of my next tape.
Okay.
I'm just very, I try to keep it real with the listener, and I try to like, I look at the mixtape, like as far as those projects goes, like those abundance of mixtapes, I look at them like diaries, like diary entries.
Okay. Yeah. So you have a fan base on KTT now because your music has been posted so much. And, you know, there are obviously people who, you know, a lot of just honestly, most people on there think that the Uptown Flavor guy is you. And a lot of people are kind of making the meme of it. But I've seen like with some of the recent music that you put out, like I saw you put out like a drill inspired song a couple months ago. Like people were getting into that, and there's people who are liking your production style and your approach to the music. So what would you have to say to the people on there who are hating on you or trolling, and also the fans alike? Like, what would be your message to them?
I mean, as far as the hate goes, I mean, I love the hate, to be honest with you. That's what fuels me. Like, I'm not the type of artist like to read something bad about myself and be like, damn, like I'm depressed. Like that don't faze me, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's
a good way to be.
Yeah, like that just keeps me motivated, bro. Like when you got haters, bro, you doing something. So that to me, though, is irrelevant. Like you can hate on me all day. It's just gonna make me bigger.
Yeah. What about the fans? What about the people who are supporting you on there? What would you like to say to them?
I mean, I love everybody that supports me. I always show people who support me. Always, you know, I always show them love. Like, you know, you reached out to me, bro, and I was back at you ASAP. Like, you know what I'm saying?
This is true facts. This is true facts. You're very gracious with your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, like I'm not one of these artists that play games, bro. Like, you know, they try to live in the gimmick or they let the gimmick take over. It's like, you know, they say don't meet your heroes. You know, it's a big thing that they say, but you know, like I know that, you know, the same asses you're gonna see at the top is the same ones you're gonna see going down. So it's always good to be humble, bro. Like you, no matter how big or small, bro. Like people always gonna remember the humble guy.
Word. Okay. Something I wanted to ask. This is a question from another artist actually. His name is Haji Gaviota. He's out of New York as well. And he wanted to know, what's your favorite Pokemon?
Nah, I never was a Pokemon fan, bro.
Wait, I understand that.
I plead the fifth on that.
I just thought I would ask because he asked me to, so I thought I would ask that. Another person asked, how would you describe your sound?
My sound is very funk orientated. I'm very big on West Coast production, so I like a lot of live instrumentation. Just very funk based, but like you know, like you mentioned with the new sounds that I'm coming with now. Like I've been flirting with drill music.
Okay.
But
what inspired that?
I had a conversation with Dalvin. And you know, he always keeps me on my feet, like when it was hot. Like,
okay. Yeah.
I go to him and he's like my test guy. Like I'll play him records and I know he's gonna be honest with me. So he was basically like, he was just telling me like, yo, you gotta do this drill shit. This is what the youngins like. I had my interpretation about what drill music is and how I feel about it. So what I did was I took that production, made it how I would want to approach it. But I just didn't, you know, I didn't interpret, you know, like having to kill people on a record or, you know, dissing people from my neighborhood that nobody even knows just so I can act like, you know, I'm a street cat. Like, you don't got to do that. And a perfect example of that is Ice Spice. Like, she raps on the same hardcore drill beats that these rappers are rapping about, but she's rapping about fucking lip gloss and shit like that. What I'm trying to say is that you don't got to take that approach as an artist. You don't got to get on a record and kill everybody.
Yeah,
you could
100%.
still be up to date and be current. And I'm very big on being yourself on the record. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like an artist will be tested. All great musicians will be tested. And when you develop that character, you got to live that character. So I feel like it would be a better approach for you to be yourself on the record. You know what I'm saying?
100%, absolutely. So, and, you can kind of hear that with the few songs that you did already, because even though you had like a drill inspired way of going about the production, all of the elements that you could hear in your music leading up to that, they still existed within it. So it didn't feel like an abandonment of your sound. It felt more of like a progression of it,
Facts.
So another question is, there's another rapper on KTT who people sort of make. He kind of has a similar reputation, but he definitely posts on there where it's kind of like people are split. I feel like with him maybe it's a lot more of a negative view versus a positive, but he goes by the name of Cordova, right? Have you ever heard of him? Are you familiar?
Not familiar.
People on their website kind of try to pit you two against each other and maybe like say like you guys should beef because you guys both have that similar thing, and it's like, so my question is like, obviously you just said you're not familiar, so there is no beef there, but would that be
I'm not into that.
So that's something that it just is non-existent, like that could be deaded.
I have no idea who this artist is, and I'm not really into beef records. Like, I would never entertain a beef record, to be honest with you. I feel like artists gotta, you gotta like, it's like building a house. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta you gotta build your structure, and that's what I'm focused on. Like, I'm not trying to beef with nobody on records. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's cool. That's pretty much what I was asking. So that's good to know. Shout out to him, though. Shout out to him. Shout out to Cordova. Cordova. I got two more questions. So I guess that kind of segues in is like, what do you think is like the current problems with just rap as a whole, like the culture of rap? What do you think are some problems or some things that we need to start seeing?
Well, that's a good question. Well, the number one problem with rap and hip-hop, with music as a whole, is artist development. We don't have that anymore. Before you would sign an artist and you would develop that artist for a year, 2 years. It's like wrestling is like how you got NXT and they develop you, and then when you're ready, you go to the main roster. So we don't have that anymore in the music business. Now these labels, they're getting artists more younger every other day, and what they're basically doing is they're just going off analytics. So that's why you have these artists that are like 10 million, 15, 20 million followers on the gram, and when they put out a record, they're doing 7K, 2K. They didn't have the artist development. They were squeezed out like a sponge, and then after that, they left to dry. A lot of artists have been coming and going since. So that's one of the main problems with the music industry. And another thing is that it's been going on, though, but it's a lot of copy and paste. And you got an artist who, becomes a big, big artist, and then you got these 10 other artists who are coming out doing the same thing. So then that's what goes back to what I told you earlier in the conversation about originality and how you should be yourself. Because when you're yourself, no one could copy you being you.
Yeah, 100%, because it's not going to feel the same way.
Not going to feel the same.
Okay, I feel that. The last question I was going to ask is, you recently put out a Charles Hamilton collab project, right?
Facts.
So my first question would be, how did that come about? Like, how did you guys, cause I know you've known them for a while, but how did you guys like sit and decide to do this project? That's one. And then the second part of that question is, are there any, like, if you could do a collab project with any other artist in the world, who would it be? Those are my two questions.
Well, the Charles project came about because a lot of people been wanting it. And, I've done music with Charles. I produced with him. We've done songs here and there. But a lot of people was always hitting me up like, yo, when you guys gonna you guys should make a project together. You guys should do a project together. And then that goes back to Dalvin. Dalvin was the one that was like, yo, I think it's time for you guys to do a project. So I just hit him up one day, and I was like, it started off with a collab that I got on my album, my last album called See You Later. There was a song called, damn, I forgot the name of the song. But it was a song that he's on with me on the album, and that was kind of the introduction on how we did the project. And then later on, I hit him up like a couple months later, and I was like, yo, you down to just do an EP? And he was like, yo, I'm with it. And I was like, all right, bet, say less. And I sent him the production. And the next day, he emailed me all his verses, and literally hours after that, I put my verses on it, and we put out the project like hours after that. So that project was literally recorded like in like 48 hours.
That's crazy. That crazy. Yeah. Okay. Well, the work ethic is definitely there. I mean, like a mixtape a month is insane. Work ethic. So like, I didn't even realize that the rate was that rapid. I didn't catch on to that. So that's crazy to see. But also, yeah, any artist you could do, like who'd be your dream artist to work with?
A dream artist to work with? Yo, to be honest with you, I don't really got like an artist like I'm dying to work with.
Right.
I'm open to work with anybody though. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know, but I don't really have like any artist in particular that at the moment I would like to collab with. You know what I'm saying? I would probably do something with like a Coi Leray on some mainstream shit, like a Coi Leray or like a Doja Cat.
Okay.
But as far as like a new artist out there, like nah.
Also, one more thing, and apologies if I'm misremembering this, but I remember you tweeted something out about like Space Ghost Perk. Like, what's up with like? How do you feel about Space Ghost Perk?
I think he a clown.
Would you work with him? No.
We were supposed to work with each other. We were supposed to collab on a record. I sent him a record. He never sent the record back. My people's we paid him for a feature, and he never got back. And then I was going online, and I started reading about all these kids that he was scamming. So I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like we just had this conversation about being a real artist, and like, you know, not being like I don't know, man. I just don't fuck with that scamming shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think artists should do that.
No, that's a very valid complaint.
Like, why would you tamper with your name? You know?
Yeah, that's a valid complaint to have. So okay, so you wouldn't be open to working with him again? I
mean, I feel like that was for that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, as of right now, nah. There's like, I'm just focusing on myself though. You know, but shout out to him though. You know what I'm saying? He's got a fan base. He's got a solid fan base. I can't deny that. Yeah. You know, he was a gatekeeper at one time in the game. You know, he's a talented producer though, but you know what I'm saying? I just don't respect his business.
Yeah, okay, I understand that. Is there anything else that you want to say before we end this?
Yeah, everybody go out and check out my album See You Later, which is on all digital streaming platforms, and go check out that collab project with Charles Hamilton called Fall Brawl, which is also on streaming platforms. We also working on a new rock album. It'll be out by this summer.
Cool.
And I'm also working on a double album, which will be out probably like third or fourth quarter of this year.
All right, well, we're excited to see it. Well, you know, KTT, they'll definitely be talking about it, discussing it when it happens. I want to thank you for your time. I really appreciate this. Thank you. And shout out to Uptown Flavor for putting everybody on KTT on.
Shout out to Dalvin. Nah, and I want to thank you, man, for taking the time out for doing this interview with me, man. I really appreciate that, man. I'm very humble for that.
Man, I appreciate it. Hope you have a good day. And, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, one.
All right.